Good evening everyone, it is Christine back with part 3 of this easy slow stitched envelope that you can use to store work in progress pieces that you're stitching or other treasures. So you will have seen it if you've watched the previous 2 videos or want to catch up on them. It's got a felt inner, and then I'm using some reclaimed fabrics from the reverse art truck as my outer. So to update you on what I've done since we were last together, we'd stitched that bit down and we'd stitched along the top, and this had been stitched down. So I've added these little just running stitches or cantha stitches along the back, and that does a great job of melding and holding the layers of the fabric and the felt together. On the front, I've done a really cute little crosses stitch using a variegated cotton. I just continued using the Anchor Pearl Cotton Fast Colour in the variegated thread. And what I did here was first of all, I drew the little crosses on with my friction marker, which you remove with the iron or heat. It makes it disappear. It's worth trying it on fabrics because just to make sure that it will not create an issue for you. But yeah, I just drew the little crosses along here, and then I stitched every second one because the dark runs for quite a while, and then when I got to the light, then stitched back, and I think I actually had to come back and just do a couple of the ones at this end. And then again, just using this is a vintage crochet cotton. I've just done stitches along here, and hopefully you can see them along there and along there and along there. So that's just a running stitch. Again, if you want to, you can draw your little dashes on so you get them relatively even. I did do that on the back because otherwise I struggle to keep a straight line. So I actually used my ruler and drew where those little dashes are, and those dashes actually go all the way over to here. I can show you with this side there. So the little lines go all the way across, which again just helps to get the fabric to be cohesive. I haven't pinned it through to the other side, have I? I think I have. I've caught the other side. Let's just take that up for a moment. So then back to the front. I stitched down the lace fabric, and what I decided to do with the edges was to let that come over because I quite like the effect. It just gives you that really vintage and that sort of shabby chic look to it when the lace is actually creeping over. And even like at this corner, this piece naturally came out, so I've left it so it is actually further out than even where the fabric is. But I did at this corner just tuck this little bit in so that when the flap comes down, the 2 bits of fabric weren't kind of fighting each other, I guess you'd say. And then on the front, finished stitching down the stamp, which we'd been working on together, and then stitched down the label. And for that, I just did little over stitches right around the outside, and then I just did some little running stitches on the inside between 2 of the black parts of the stamp. So that's just really, it's given the fabric a nice, almost a sort of a quilted effect. That's what you get with the cantha stitches or the, that running stitch. It works really, really well to make the fabric all be cohesive together. You don't have to do that, obviously. You can do less, you can do vertical, you can do a combination, you can do other types of stitches. Could have done big crosses across here if I wanted. Now I've decided to not put as many design elements on the back. Originally I was thinking sort of lace and these stamped pieces. I'm thinking I'm just going to put this little piece here of stamped, and then I'm thinking down here where we'd sewn the 2 bits of fabric, I'll use this piece which I was originally thinking of putting over the corner on the front. I'll run that down and just sort of a bit further below where the envelope closes. And then I'm thinking this one, which I was going to put this bit of crocheted cut up doily on the front, and I've subsequently attached one of the leftover flowers from the bit of fabric that was cut off when we cut out this piece, and I'm actually thinking I'll put that on the, sorry, I'll bring it back down so you can see where I'm going to put it there, because I think that will be nice. When you open the envelope up, you get an extra little special surprise. So I think probably that's our next thing to stitch down, and we'll probably also then stitch this one down before we sew the flaps down, and then we're pretty much done, I think. So hopefully I won't take up too much of your time, but I thought, yeah, we'll do a bit of stitching. I'll show you the update and then we'll finish it off together, and then that way if you are watching along and stitching along, you can, yeah, grab your needle and thread and be stitching away while I do this stitchery. So I'm going to just pop up, I think, from underneath if I can, so that we don't have the knot visible. Tuck the little knot in. I might take a bit more of the end of the knot off. So I hope you're all having a good day. Wednesday. Yes, it is Wednesday today. Keen to get this project done because we'll be getting our next prompt in Roxy's Journal of Stitchery this evening, or I'll probably get to see the videos in the morning. They tend to post them quite late and past my bedtime. I'd happily stay up longer, but alas, I have to get up in the morning. Travis is always keen for his morning walk. First thing I do, get up, put the clothes on, and then virtually straight out with Travis for a walk before I even get my morning coffee. We do a big walk around the block. And then that's my reward. When I get back, I get to make my coffee. Hopefully have a little bit of quiet time before the working day starts, which is nice. Some mornings head out. We've got a fabulous French bakery near us, which after many years traveling in France, I can definitely say it's as good as some of the very best bakeries that we've been to over there. So we're incredibly lucky to have that. Hope I'm not casting too many shadows for you. So I just want to get it just sort of enough tacked on. The crochet, this was an edging of actually a cardigan. I think I got this cardigan in Italy. So it's quite thick crochet, but we'll just do our best. I might even be better just to pin it just down a smidge, even though I hate pins. Pins. In fact, I actually found there was a pin in this upper section. Somehow it got inside this section up here, so I had to wangle it out. Hate it when there's pins that sort of go rogue. Oh yeah, so we've got the next Roxy Journal of Stitchery prompt coming along, either later tonight or in the morning. So that will be interesting to see what else we're going to be adding to our Down the Garden Path piece. I've still got a little ways to go because it ends at the end of June. But if you haven't joined and you're interested in it, you can check it out by just search on Roxy's Journal of Stitchery or go to Roxy Creations. That's where the two organisers have their playlist with all the videos. So Rachel and Sarah, who organise it all, share the props. And it's great fun and just such a wonderful community of people that are into slow stitching and textile arts, and just wonderful to see everyone's creations. But it's nice to have a little project like this to do in between, and particularly to have a project that's going to help me, give me a place to store my work in progress pieces as I'm working on them, which will be great. Just really happy with the colour scheme on this. I'm very much, I love my blues, and I love that combination. It's such a classic look. I reckon the blues and whites together. I think I almost need to put my thimble on. Where is my thimble hiding? Of course I can't. Oh, there it is over there. It's my favourite. Well, actually the only thimble I've found so far that I don't mind wearing. So I don't think I can say it's a favourite because it's the only one. Just helps when you're pushing through thicker fabrics. Oops, caught on the pin. I think that pin can come out now. Not loving it. Where will I poke it? Poke it over here in my board. So I'd love to know if you've got a little project you're working on at the moment, if you're sharing videos of it. I'd love to watch. I'm always searching, trying to find more slow stitch friends to link up with. So if you are lurking there and watching, yeah, pop in a comment. Let me know your channel. It's hard to know the terms that people use. Like I know we use slow stitching. I don't know if everyone kind of uses that, or there's people just kind of doing more regular sewing, hand sewing. Am I going a bit crooked there? Hope not. I think because the two fabrics, yeah, come together and make a line. So I think as long as I stay within that, that will work okay. Okay. It's great to hear from some of you saying that you're going to give this project a go yourselves. That's what I like to do, create something that inspires others to enjoy their time stitching. This fabric's definitely quite a thick fabric. When you get the multi layers that I've got at the join here, it is quite thick. I'm not going through to the other side though, because I don't want the stitches to appear on the front. So I'm just, yeah, just picking up the top layers here on the back. It wouldn't matter if there was the odd stitch through to the front. It just sort of adds to that shabby chic look. Work out how far down I want to continue that. Maybe I'll just take it down to there, I think. Oops, tied up. Oh, unthreaded my needle. I do find wearing the thimble, it just makes me a little bit more cack-handed, I reckon. Just take that off for a second. It's helpful having the little circles to kind of loop around. Makes it a bit easier when you're pushing the needle through. Oops. Can't believe it is May either. That is just absolutely blowing my mind. Seems like it was the start of the year, just a blink ago. I suppose that's where the sewing's good though, when you're doing projects and doing regular ones like the Roxy project and having a product every 2 weeks. You've kind of got something to look back and go, oh yeah, no, the time did actually happen. And here's what I created in those little bits of time that otherwise just go by without really anything to show for them sometimes. Okay, I'm just going to tie this off down here. Okay, so I think that's quite nice. There you go. And then let's put our, I've got another thread attached to this one already, so I can use that. So for this, yeah, just the regular doily, and then the bit of the design that I stitched just with little over stitches into the centre, because I thought that worked really nicely. And it's fun just to have little things that you discover in your pieces, or let other people discover. So I reckon I'll put it probably, yeah, about there. Again, I just want to catch the fabric underneath but not go right through to the front. Just so around, sort of weaving up and down just to hold this inner core in place, and then I'll go around the outside and do the same, I think. Just catching enough of the fabric to anchor it. Had the most wonderful laugh while watching Leanne from Leanne's Crafty Cupboard, her video last night for Roxy's Journal of Stitchery. I think she'd actually published it maybe the day prior, but I got to watch it last night, and oh my goodness, tears of laughter. She was in hysterics, and yeah, she definitely had me laughing. But loved her piece. She created a Monet sort of style pond and some beautiful chairs, and a weeping willow tree, which is beautiful. So earlier this afternoon, after we'd finished work for the day, took Travis down to the dog park, and my car was making a strange noise as we were driving down there. Just the wheels were making a strange noise, and I was like, oh, I hope it's not a flat tire, but it didn't seem to be sort of dragging it all to the right or the left. Anyway, it turned out it was a flat tire on the back left. But luckily we have roadside assistance, so I rang them up, and someone was out super fast. It was half an hour, and then they were done within minutes. They can do it so much faster than if you try and do it yourself. Not that I probably shouldn't say this, but I've never tried to change a wheel. I'm quite happy to outsource that myself. especially on a cold and slightly damp evening. Last thing I want to be doing is, yeah, sliding around, trying to jack up the car and wrangle a wheel. But they were quite new wheels, tyres that I'd had replaced, so I suppose it's always the way. Anyway, at least we were very close to home, so it wasn't like we were far from home, so that was good. And her beautiful leftover roast chicken dinner. I love getting the boneless chicken roasts. Another stitching friend, Christina Creates, was talking about her love of, she'd recently tried the boneless roast, I think, or was making a boneless roast. So convenient. Come pre-boned and super juicy and just so easy to cut up. No wrangling with bones either. I do miss the bones sometimes because it's nice to have some to make some. I used to make sort of a chicken stock with the leftover bones, but for convenience, it is good. And Alex is funny, he just doesn't like meats with bones in them at all, so it suits perfectly. Doesn't like chicken skin either. I love it, so it's a perfect situation because I get his chicken skin. Win-win. So I'm wondering what our next prompt will be for the Down the Garden path. We've had so many prompts, and I think it was Rachel this week that was saying all the prompts that they've picked are what they think are pretty straightforward things that you would expect to have in a garden. But I'm struggling to think what we haven't had so far. I was hoping we might get like a picnic, because I've got the cutest little picnic vintage picnic hamper sort of rug applique piece that I would love to add in and make a little picnic scene. But I don't know if that's a straightforward thing to expect to have in a garden, so we'll wait and see. I'm trying to think, have we had the prompt? I don't think we've had the prompt of a wheelbarrow, have we? I don't think so. Quite a few people have stitched wheelbarrow, so I wonder if we might get that. We've had a gate, we've had a door, gate or door, had wildflowers, had a greenhouse or glass house, had garden visitors, animals, had a bench, had pots. I've still got my Monet water lily piece to do some more stitching on, but I've been kind of busy reorganising, but also wrangling, that seems to be my word for the night, wrangling and washing and ironing the doilies and other goodies that I picked up on the weekend, because I want to get those sorted through, and I might share them. Tomorrow's Thursday, so we might do Thrifty Thursday. You will think, my goodness, how can this girl have stuff every week? I really shouldn't, but as long as it fits in my storage, in my area here, without making it overly cluttered. It fitted in the room before even the bed was moved out, so I'm confident I have the space for it, but I think I am definitely getting to that point where it will only be exceptional further purchases on Facebook Marketplace. Although, for example, that those vintage haberdashery and other items, I'm so glad I got them, and I wouldn't have not got them. And likewise, this set of family doilies and other goodies, it's just remarkable. Okay. there we go. That's, so you flip it open and you've got a little, let me do it where you can actually see it, and you've got a nice little surprise there. So now let's proceed to stitch down our edges. So just to show you again, the way I've done it is folded the inner layer in up the top separate, because I want the inner layer to sit behind the upper layer, and then I just made sure that, and just sort of pull them so that the two are basically at the same level, and you'll just need to sort of check your folds and try and get them as even as possible, but it doesn't really matter too much. And if they really weren't terribly even, you could just use something. If, for example, one of them was bigger than the other, you could put something like this across, and then you wouldn't even be able to tell that they weren't exactly up to the same level. So in fact, that one does need to just angle up. I might just take it, angle it a smidgy more up to there. That about right? Yep, that's better. Oops. Put that like that. Okay, I'm just going to tuck that top bit under. So let's get some more thread. And so I show the process of how I've folded these, and then I just do an ironing line just so they hold their position or their shape, and the fold lines makes it easier when you're sewing. Okay. Get these quickly stitched down. I'll drag that back a little bit, pop up under that. Again, quite thick when you get the layers of the lace plus the fabric. Okay. Just going to keep that back layer just behind, a bit more behind. And I'll just want to make sure that I'm not going through to the layer behind, so I might just stick my hand inside just so I don't accidentally stitch the two layers together, because that wouldn't be good. Wouldn't be good if I stitched my beautifully made envelope closed. Even if it was just in portions. It would kind of defeat the purpose. And we've got a knot. What's going on here? Okay, we are knotted. And I think I am going to need my thimble again. Or I can use my desk to push it through. Maybe I'll do that. Sorry, just working out how best to stitch it and to be on camera at the same time. So we're just catching the edge and just stitching our way down. Oops. again, using the white thin, just regular cotton works well, because you don't even, the stitches sort of don't show out that much anyway. But you want to keep the stitches relatively close together. And just periodically check that you're not stitching it together at the back. Just going to tuck that other bit of fabric in. Just pull that bit to about there, I think. Just unthreaded my needle again, never mind. I'll take that one out. Okay, I think that will work. I think that's straight. As I say, I'm just lining up this side with the other side a little bit. So Mother's Day is coming up in Australia. I think it's at different times overseas, but this would be a lovely little project if you wanted to make a little Mother's Day gift, even if your mum's not a sewer. It's a nice little pouch to keep other bits and pieces in, and you can personalise it in someone's favourite colours. So what I might do, so you don't have to stare at the process of me just doing the same stitch over and over again, and because it's quite a thick fabric, it is taking a bit of time, I'll jump off and I'll stitch down this, and then I'll also stitch down this side, and this side is exactly the same folding process, where fold that corner in, and then first of all I fold this corner in and then fold the other corner, so that it forms the shape that I want, and so that this inner bit isn't showing in front of the other bit. And I'll just tuck that one likewise in at that corner. So I'll jump off and then I'll pop back on in the merest of moments for you and show you the finished product. See you soon. Okay, so I am back having done the stitching down. So I wanted to show you the finished product. So you will see on the front, I have written my current project that is in the bag now of the Moonlit Garden. And I'll show you in a moment how easily the friction marker comes off with the application of some heat from an iron or hairdryer. Now on the back, I've stitched down the two flaps. Before I stitched this one down, I just added on this little piece of writing because that was my plan. And then I had the thought to add these buttons, and so for the buttons I actually had to stitch through with my needle from the back here to stitch to the front and then to the back. So this is a little wooden button with a little painted floral scene, and then these are two of my beautiful mother of pearl buttons from my recent vintage haberdashery stash. So that is how the piece looks. Really pleased with it. It's now got my Moonlit Garden piece in it. So as you can see, that's the Moonlit Garden, and then it's got my cats on the bench, which is still a work in progress piece. And that just fits incredibly well in there. And then if I did want to throw some, say these were the threads that go with it, they can all throw in there and it can sit happily in the little container like that. Take the threads out for now because they are a smidge bulky. And I just love this little extra detail when you open the flap up. And I just, yeah, like the fact I haven't gone too busy, haven't put too many bits and pieces on the back. I think that's enough just to have that nice balance of the sort of the elements that run across that way, elements that run down that way, one sitting, and then those sort of other shapes. And on the front, I'm just so pleased to have some of this vintage lace in something that I'm going to be keeping, and this lovely little bit of vintage fabric, and good to start using some of my own stamped on bits of fabric. So I'll just take the piece of work out of it, and then I've just turned my iron on, so I'm just going to show you how easily the friction marker disappears. So like magic, it is gone. So once the Moonlit Garden gets finished as a project, I can then write the next project that's going to live in the bag on here. So that's just the friction marker, Frixion, and it's by Pilot, and it's called Friction Ball. You can get it in different colors. I've just got the black ones, came from my local supermarket. So that is that. Pop project in. As I mentioned in one of the earlier videos, you could put a little button closure or a little snap closure on the back, but I'm actually really happy that it just kind of sits like that. If it's in a bag like that, it's going to hold. I was also thinking I've got these little clothes peg hooks, and if I actually had a hook I wanted to hang it up on in my room, I could just, yeah, have this little hook or peg sitting on it. So that's just another cute way. And if I did need to keep it closed and didn't have a closure on it, I could just, yeah, keep it closed that way. So there you go, a way you can use reclaimed fabrics or scraps of fabric. You could use smaller portions and just stitch them together. Again, all of that difference and that sort of contrast just adds to the beauty of these pieces. You can add some of your favorite vintage elements. You can make your own embellishments like the stamp and like the label. You can think about the composition and how you want it. You could have these flaps more internal, but I just, again, like the detailing, again, using vintage pieces and just adding your own stitches to bring the piece together, and also to add that nice decoration, and then having more finer stitches where you just sort of don't want those stitches to be absolutely on show, and just using a regular thin cotton for that. Again, you could do very visible stitching along here and have it as a design element, like the stitching around that. So really there's nothing, there's no right or wrong in this. It's about doing what makes you happy, and when you're looking at it, something that really brings you pleasure. This one is definitely going to bring me pleasure, and I'm just really happy that it's something that will be out in my work area, and I'll get to enjoy the tactile nature of it and looking at it pretty regularly when I'm pulling out projects. And I'm definitely going to make some more of this size in different designs to have for my slow stitch projects, and no doubt I'll end up making some as gifts as well, I think. So thank you so much if you've been watching along through part 1, part 2, and this final part 3. I really hope it's given you enough to create something of your own, or to take this idea and tinker with it. As I say, it was a bit of an experimental process. You've seen me kind of figure things out along the way. But yeah, I just hope it gives you some creative inspiration. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you back here again soon, hopefully. Take care, everyone. Bye.